Hi all. It's afternoon. Listen, it is Sunday, the 21st of August of 2022. My name is Amy. I am from Little Farm Quilts here on YouTube and on Instagram. And welcome to my Flosstube, where I give you all the updates on my whips. Any haul that I've gotten, which today I only have a little bit, and it's kind of my plans going forward. Welcome to all my subscribers. I've gotten a few new ones this last week, so welcome along. Hope you find something you like. This is all about cross stitch today, with the exception of one. I'm going to show you some progress on my knitting whip, and if you've been around, it's my socks that I've been working on for probably about a year. Iced tea in hand. My husband and I just got home about an hour ago. We went away camping this weekend. We were missing it after being gone for that 3.5 weeks on our long RV trip. It felt good to be back out there. Didn't get a ton of stitching done this weekend, but I feel like I've gotten a significant portion of stitching done this week. So the first thing I'm going to show you now, and I guess I've gotten into quite a good rhythm with this, is my 25/7 piece. There is a Facebook page, 25/7. Meant to, it essentially replaces the 30 minute a day stitching on each project. I picked one project. I'm giving it at least 25 minutes a day. I will tell you that yesterday I was able to give it about an hour and a half. So today I haven't stitched on it at all, to free up some time because we're coming back from camp and I have other things I want to work on today. But I did work on it. So my 25/7 piece is my oldest whip, which is Dimensions Gold. And sorry, I have some artificial lighting because it's clouding over, getting ready to storm here. So if it seems like I'm talking a mile a minute, it's because I'm trying to get this recorded before we get this big storm that's coming. Dimensions Gold kit, Lost No More. If you're around, you've seen it. I've had a commenter this last week said, I'm waiting for this to get finished. So am I. So am I. As you can tell, it's pretty old and tattered. You should see the chart. The chart's in pieces because it's worn apart where it's been folded. This is on the kit Ada, the kit floss. You'll have to ignore, I do have some hanging threads. And this is where I am right now. That looks really good there. This weekend I worked, let's get you closer, right over in here. So I worked down in here, all of this, and then I start moving over in his robe, string and needle, and I'm gonna work this across. I would love to be able to get to the bottom corner here soon, but gosh, that's looking good, huh? This is slow going, slower than any of my full coverage with Pattern Keeper because the paper chart is difficult to read. If any of you have dealt with some of the older Dimensions kits, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. So this will continue to be my 25/7 piece, so it'll get time every day unless I get one day that I can get a chunk of time in, and then it will not come out like today. It's not getting work done today, which kind of seems weird because it's Sunday and it's a Jesus thing. But we're just gonna go with it. If you can hear my neighbor mowing his lawn, I'm sorry. It's just my luck that he came out to start mowing his lawn when I started to do my Flosstube. So that's that. That's my 25/7. The next thing I want to show you is an update on my travel pieces. So this is one of my, so I have one travel whip that is travel stitching that is cross stitch, and I have one that's knitting. So my travel for cross stitch is my Mill Hill kit. It's Tree of Life. It's a buttons and beads kit. It's stitched on perforated paper, came with the kit with all the kit floss, And again, you're going to see hanging strings because I'm a notorious miscounter if you're new here. I got about 4 threads of this in on the way home from camp today. I started, let's see, I filled in some of this blue, some of this lighter brown, got that filled in, did some of these dark green leaves, and then I started over in this corner. And quite honestly, the road was just too bumpy for me to be doing anything. I think New York State needs to spend some money on fixing up their highways, but you know, that's just me. I chose this as my travel stitching to do because it's a smaller piece. It's easy to see no matter where I am. It's all contained as a kit, and the beads are in here as well, so if I ever get to beading it, I'm ready. But this will remain in my travel bag, which is right here. I made this bag. I'm kind of proud of this bag. But that's my travel project bag until it's done, and then we'll replace it with something else. The other progress I wanted to show you from my travel is my sock. So I have my sock all ready to close up the toe. So there we are. So I think I might take a few minutes tonight and close up the toe and then be done with that sock. But yeah, isn't it cute? So I may take a moment, you know, this weekend and close up the sock, and then I can start the heel on the other sock. And that is my travel project update. The other project I want to update you on is, and this is kind of a mess right now, this is the sale that I'm doing with Gail from Gail's Golden Needle. It is A Year in the Woods by Cottage Garden Samplings. We are on the raccoon. We started this last week. And I took this with me to camp. And because I don't kit up my DMC, I had it in my head I needed to pull the DMC that I was using for this and put it in the project bag before I went. Do you think I remembered to do that? No, not even a little bit. So when I got to camp and pulled this out and I was texting Gail, I said, you'll never believe what I did. I didn't pack the DMC for this. And she laughed. She said, isn't there a Joann's store? And I'm like, well, for the weekend, I'm not going to bother going to Joann's, but we're in the mountains. So yeah, it would be quite the haul. But I did have the over dyes that I was using in the project with me. So I just concentrate on those. I didn't get a ton done on him, and I already have a mistake. So nobody needs to comment. I'm going to tell you what it is because you're all going to pick it out almost immediately if you're working on these. Let me see if I can get this. Sorry, it was in a hoop because I was working out this morning on my morning stitchy call with Gail. This is where I am. So today I was working mainly on his face because I'm using chalk for the white. I had to rip out this eye and restitch that. And guess what? These white little bobbles here, they're supposed to be 930, which is a blue. So those will be getting ripped out and put back in the correct color. But I mainly worked on his head. And he will probably get another couple hours of today. At least I'm hoping. But that's where he is. I put this flower in, finished the stem here, put a little bit of the tail. But mainly, I did this in Aran white, and then I mainly worked on his face here with the white. So I'm going to put him back on a Q-snap, put him back on my Lowry, and give him a couple more hours today. Our hashtag is Woods, hashtag Woods Sunday Sale. Yeah, he'll get a few more hours today, and hopefully I will be able to, my goal today, and we'll see if we meet it, I'd love to get his face and his arms done. I think it's kind of a lofty goal considering getting ready for work, and it's already 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but I think we're gonna try it anyway. Sorry for all the shadow, it's the artificial light. The other one I wanted to update for you on, I told you I was gonna leave Southern Land on the frame and put some more time in it. Southern Land by Owl Forest Embroidery. I'm sorry, I've gotten bad at telling you where I'm stitching this on. The Into the Woods spring animals are being stitched on 36 count spring by Picture This Plus that was dyed specifically for the series. This Owl Forest Embroidery is being stitched on 36 count white Edinburgh linen with the called for DMC. I did keep it on my frame. I have worked more on it. I actually finished this middle motif here and started on this one. And this is going to get another 3 days this week. So this will go back on my stand for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday stitching. Those are days I can only stitch in the evenings generally because I'm doing the Lost No More in the morning. So this will go on for evening stitching. But we're gonna do 3 more days and see. I still would love, I'll talk about that shortly. Plans, you know, my ever-changing plans. But I think I've been pretty consistent on my desire to finish things this year. I've had a few starts. Most of them have been the Into the Woods series. I had 1 full coverage start, 2 full coverage starts this year. Yeah, or I don't even know. It could be more than that. But I was talking to Gail this morning, I really would like to get my whip count down. And so we'll talk about that after I update you on these others. All right, this other one I'm gonna need my tablet for. So I worked on 2 full coverages this week, 1 more than the other. Let's see if I can get this picture up. Come on, cooperate with me. Bear with me for a second. So my oldest full coverage, other than Lost No More, is Spotted in the Rain. Artwork is by Leonid Afremov, and it has been charted by Heaven and Earth Design. This is a regular version. This is before I knew about Max Colors. This is a regular version. Sorry about the glare. And this is what it looks like. And the reason, if you haven't been around, I started this because it reminded me of my husband and I. I'm stitching at 25 count, 2/110, and I park. So here's the deal with me. I've been kind of incorporating Royal Rose. The deal with me in parking threads is always the same. I park threads for a period of time, and then the park threads drive me crazy. And then I spend some time weaving in the park threads, and then filling in the holes to get a significant coverage. So when I pulled this one out, the amount of park threads was kind of driving me a little nuts. So I have started working them all in here. Let me show you. Let me put this here. Okay. So when I started Royal Rose, this section was already down to here. So I've made the decision on this piece to work the Royal Rose kind of like in sections all the way down to that part. And see if I can get an even section across that's completed. I do love how it is working out, but I mainly worked right in here. So I'm gonna pull it really close. Those greens, I pulled it right. That's mainly where I worked. And sometimes as I'm working on it, I think 2/110 isn't enough, but then I look at it and I'm like, no, it is plenty. It is truly plenty. 2 over 110, although when you're under magnification and you're looking at it, it looks like it's not enough coverage, but that is really enough coverage. That is truly enough coverage. But as you know, if you've been around, I'm converting all of my full coverages to tint, even some that had partially finished pieces done in full cross. You cannot tell the difference when it's hanging up or when it's far away. I can only tell the difference under magnification. So that to me is my deciding factor. And because I hadn't had a lot in any of these, it is what it is. So Bonnet in the Rain, let me tell you how many stitches I got in. I did 509 stitches so far this month. The next one I'm going to show you is the stitching shelf. This is one I started a while ago, but I am doing it with the stitch along that Kim from Stitch and Stuff, Carolyn from Caesar Stitch, and Tina from Tina Stitches are hosting. They're hosting a stitching shelf sale. This is the stitching shelf, max color, regular version. Artwork is by Amy Stewart, charted by Heaven and Earth Design. I have 2 Amy Stewarts going. I have this one in Grand Library. And I have a couple other of her charts that I have not started, nor will I start as of right now. I put just 224 stitches in this month. And this again, the park threads were starting to drive me a little crazy. Let me get something to put behind here. This is on 28 count, easy grid. Okay, so the park threads were driving me crazy, so you can see now I'm working this is a page width here. I'm working the whole page in a 20 stitch height all the way across. So I'm starting to work all these threads into down here, and then I'm going to fill in the holes and get that part done. This is also getting 3 more days this week. This is getting Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Mainly because I'd love to get all these threads worked down. But you can see the detail in there. The max color really does lend itself to some detail. And I can't wait to see more. Hence why it's getting 3 more days. All right, so my Lost No More will remain my 25/7 piece. My travel stitching will remain the Mill Hill kit and the knitting. I will, at home here, give Ricky Raccoon from Cottage Garden Samplings a couple more hours today. And then I will switch over to Southern Land for 3 days, and then Stitching Shelf for 3 days. That being said, I'm looking around. I'm still in the mood to get things finished. I'm still in the mood to reduce my whips. I have already gone through all my whips, as you guys know, and dekitted a couple things this last month. I think those are the 2 final things that I'm going to dekit, because everything else I really like the way it's coming out and how it's going. I'd also like to FFO things like this that's still sitting here. I still have others to FFO. So Gail and I were talking this morning. I think between my 25/7 piece, my travel stitching, if I work on any of it, the Southern Land, and a full coverage, you guys will have plenty to see from me each week. That'll give me focused attention on things so that even my large projects are seeing progress and some of the smaller ones are getting finished. I have a very lofty goal of going from 36 whips to 15. There, I put it out there. And I told Gail this morning, this is exactly what I said. I would love to do that this year, by the end of this year. I just don't think I can do it. I don't think it will happen. But I would love to get down to 15. And I told her that maybe if that's focusing on some of my smaller projects and getting them done and out of my whip rotation, if that's enough, then maybe that's what I'll do. I'd like to remain at 15. I'd like to get it down at 15 and remain at 15, which means I would need a finish to start something. And that's my thing. So that drive in me has become stronger as the years progressed, and it's not getting any less. So it's time to get her done, so to speak, as my husband would say. And to that vein, I have now put all my full coverages on a completion timeline. Some are on a 5-year, some are on a 10-year. Pretty lofty goals as far as how much has to be stitched per month or per year in order to make that happen. So I've started to track. I used my StitchCon notebook from StitchCon. And what I've done, because I'm an old like paper and pen kind of girl, I've written down, given each page a full coverage, how many total stitches, how many stitches have been stitched to date, what kind of plan it's on, whether it be a 10-year or 5-year, and I'm tracking per month how much I stitch on it. So there's going to be a concerted effort to have a full coverage in every week's rotation of stitching. And I may rotate through the full coverages. That's the plan, but we'll see. If I'm really enjoying one, I may just stay on that one for a while until I reach that month's goal. The goals are too high for me to be able to get all of them worked on every month to the degree that they would need. And I know that going into it. But what I'd really like to do is through September, seriously track with a concerted effort and having them consistently in the rotation, and see exactly how much I get done in a month. And then I can readjust my finish goals. Because as Gail reminded me, we did Modern Folk Embroidery's stitch along for 2021, and that was almost between 4,000 and 5,000 stitches every month. And we only finished a little bit late into January. And we still stitched other things. So it definitely can be done. And I enjoy a challenge. So I guess through September we'll find out. If I have any comparison photos for any of these, I will sub them in through here. If I can't find them or I find it too difficult to sub them in, I will not. Yeah, so the giveaway from last week, I had a truck bag. This one, this is the back. This is from Black Cat X Stitchery, Tiffany. Her cards in the bag, along with some tea and some floss drops. And we had a giveaway. I will be inserting the video of the winner, hopefully, for my random comment picker in here. If not, Heidi Lenig won the bag, so congratulations, Heidi. And I will comment on your comment, but you can send me your mailing address at littlefarmquilts@gmail.com, and I would be happy to get this out in the mail to you. Congratulations. So excited. If I can insert that video so that you know I picked it legit, I will insert it. And if I can edit in photos, I will do that. But otherwise, thanks for joining me today. I will be back next Saturday, barring any unforeseen circumstances. I feel like I'm forgetting to talk about something, but I guess I can always put it on next week, huh? You guys have a great week, and I'll see you soon. Bye. And getting ready to pick for my truck bag giveaway. So here we go. Heidi, you have won the truck bag. So Heidi, if you can get in touch with me at littlefarmquilts@gmail.com, or I am going to comment on your comment with my email and give me your shipping information, I will ship you the truck. Congratulations.